Okay. Anything under the sun.
Right.
Okay.
Anything under the sun. Gevre get the wach. Ze doet zich maar schmies. And I'll tell you what ran through my mind, Moshe. So, Konikol, most people will probably know you as host of Latest Talks.
Yeah.
My good friend Penny Rab, shout out to him. He has the greatest podcast of all. En het ongem des een finne terug when mod gelacht from the idea of a podcast. And I remember watching his first few episodes, and it was very, very geschmack. So shout out to him. At the Get the Base, has a lot of listeners. His advertisers are happy. So most people know you from there. Ich getracht dat zo. Dat Lamasa, Latest Talks at the end of the day komt eruit berg einmal agoy, dus if we average it out. Viele Schmilli-Cast kommt raus einmal in 2 Wochen. Jetzt ist er meinig auf Stickel Break. Ich weiß nicht, whatever. But the point is that Menschen that haben lieb entertainment, they haben lieb conversations. Because automatically when we read conversations, we touch on marketing, we touch on gewisse mental health, in unum, amuleren man etwas. Especially in mijn podcast, wie ich try sehr stark sich zu halten, especially lately. Try ich mich zu halten, mit PG-13, which means that it should be kid-friendly, it should be topics was in a niche sehr extreme.
No need for
was in a
censoring.
right. It was definitely meaning it's nicht kind adult conversations. So just light and fluffy conversations. And although I do still see myself as a little bit out of the box, and ich meine, als jeder voll day out of the box. Ich getroffen eine Gruppe von like 20 Bobben van Bucherum, and they told me that they love these kind of conversations. They told me to the other podcasts that they listen, hebben gezegd that me wil heren alles, but at the end of the day is ja du als aan mij zegt van houd me within our boundary. Ik wil ja heren normale zaken. And I think that that's my strength, to bring gitte entertainment and dezelfde tijd zal het ook zijn valuable to the mensen. And I think that that's the most beautiful thing. How do you see, in your opinion, how do you see the entertainment industry, the podcast industry? I know you sticks at aufgebaut dan eigene platform. You were doing podcasts a while. You're doing the Latest Talks for many years. How do you see the Yiddish entertainment?
Okay. So I see podcast as something completely different than the regular person. I see podcast as, I think, this is my line. I think everyone deserves a podcast. Either be on a podcast or have your own podcast. Favos, because people used to journal, people used to have diaries, and it was private or whatever. Now people have social media. Nice.
Yeah.
Now people have social media, and everything is public. Everything is like whatever. So if you're gonna do it public already, at least get real. You know, be raw. You can be very raw with podcasts. It's not like cookie cutter social media.
And what's the mala from them?
The mala from them is, first of all, you're journaling. Most people don't have any patience to journal, to make a diary or anything.
All right,
like
you're giving
that.
out your feelings.
Yeah, you mamish, and if you put out a podcast, no matter what kind of quality it is, you're still talking, and you can always look back at the old podcast and be like, wow.
Yeah.
Like I see myself even on the Latest Talks about the first one. I'm like, the things that I was thinking then, the things that I was saying then, it's a whole different story, and I'm not embarrassed of it. It's beautiful. I look back and look now, and I'm thinking completely different. And you can see a transformation happen, and I think it's a very good thing.
You think that most people don't like get their thoughts out, Gerik?
It's very hard to remember what you used to think to see how far you came. Very difficult, especially for me. I find it very difficult. If I can't actually look at it, I have no idea how I got here. I feel lost. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I used to think that. That's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that because Steve Jobs, he was a very respected man, and he was the founder of Apple, the company that we know right now. He said this quote, and something like that, you can't connect the dots going forward, but you can connect the dots looking backward.
Yes.
So meaning to say, ich weiß nicht, wie mein future geht sein, but Tomer sehe ich, was ich getan bis hand, and then I go back and I start saying, Arege, was hat ja gearbeitet, was hat nicht gearbeitet, and how can I be different in the future, weiß ich, wie sie sich zu tauschen. And Albert Einstein hat gesagt that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I guess through journaling, sich machen, was man rief, ein bisschen cheshben an nefisch, you get to see, okay, was arbeitet in mein Leben, and was arbeitet nicht in mein Leben. So yes, I do highly encourage people to journal, basically.
And that's even without subscribers and listeners.
This is the point, is me redu, meine Leute haben sich ausgelassen. The device that the camera adjusts, the iPhone adjusts automatically
So
to
you
the
can see
lighting.
now, whatever.
Yeah. Ich kan zien as the color from my screen is dezelfde.
That's cool.
Come on. Although lights would be better. but no, I can see that the screen is still clear. So it's fine with me. Anyway, I'm just finished getting the introduction on you. I think you're a very interesting individual, which is you enjoy to speak. You're a very smart person. You have a good way of thinking, and that's why Penny liked having you on the Latest Talks podcast. You were that kind of like vanilla guy. What's that, sir?
I have the keys, I need to move the car.
Yeah. And also, can you tell Tata to make the...
Moving the car.
Yeah, tell him to crank up the lights, please.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you. So, ich ga lieb zu lassen, die Sachen. Want nachdem zoeken mensen, they're like, wow, so geherig is, dat is echt rooi and real. But the point is that, so I'm in the middle doing an introduction. And so you were a host on the days, you love helping people. You just released a song. You have you started your own podcast. You did your own vlogs. You do a bunch of things. You do art. And was noch ist die, was ich weiß nicht. Did I get it all?
For
Or?
quite a while. I do design.
You do marketing and design, obviously, right?
I
You still
like
do
to-
marketing and design now?
I decided to check out of marketing, but not design.
Mm-hmm.
I realized my strong point is not marketing, and I don't feel it as much for whatever. There's
Yeah.
a lot of different reasons, but design I still enjoy. I don't like doing design for people though. It's very difficult for me because it's hard to crawl into someone's mind. If I'm an artist,
Yeah.
I'm not really a designer as much as I'm an artist.
Yeah.
An artist, it's hard to I want to express myself, and now I have to express you. I have no idea, I don't know your soul. I don't know what
Wow.
you want. So it's very, very difficult. I get very irritated.
Uh-huh.
So I want to take a step back.
Yes, ich mache introductions because zij zeg maar mensen willen wissen, okay, wer is die mens? Ik ga jetzt aussehen nach Schmies van Beren Gashu. Where is the man? You know, it's either 40 minutes or an hour and 20, whatever the duration it takes. Mensen willen wissen, okay, where is was guy jetzt gehen and the tijd. And I always felt like we were talking a lot. We talk a lot on WhatsApp and this. Always felt like, okay, you're an interesting person to pick your brain and see what you and have a conversation, which is what we're doing.
That's great.
Yeah. In the creative space, do you think that there's place to grow? Where do you think it's going in general?
In general, the creative space is infinite. It's everywhere. Like which
In the marketing, in the marketing from the Heimische communities.
So I can get completely open.
Yeah.
So recently I posted something on LinkedIn
Yeah.
that made a lot of people very upset.
Okay.
And it was more like I've been feeling this for a while, and I felt very not true when it came to this. I feel like marketing in the Jewish chevra, like the Heimische world,
Yeah.
it's gonna bust soon. It's gonna bust.
Okay.
Because
In what sense?
we're inflating a lot. First, we have the most beautiful ads that there is in the world already. Like we
Yeah.
really, really, really went far with our ads. It's beautiful. You look in the Omni magazine.
yeah. So you see it as a positive. Okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. But then,
That's
eventually, thank you. Eventually, it starts getting kind of like you're really selling luxury products. Like jeder einhalt luxury products. No, I'm sorry. I'm not buying that. I can buy the same $90 zach for $2, and if I feel like I'm being lied to. I checked out of that because I don't want to. I can't do that. Every single company is that expensive, havos. And even if it's not expensive and they make it seem like expensive, Lemushal, if you have an ad that says you need this,
Yeah.
do I? Really? Or you convincing me? So it's a white lie.
Compared to who? Like, is it in the Goyish marketing is different? Are you
The
saying?
Goyish marketing, they actually if they put, let's say, a celebrity.
Yeah.
Let's say they put The Rock in a fancy suit, and you need this suit. They don't write you need this suit. They show.
Yeah.
So they're kind of tricking you into thinking that if you wear this suit, you
You'll
will
be-
become The Rock, or you're in some exclusive club. But they do have a certain mala where their audience is so large where it becomes a shtickle club. You
So
feel
some of our
a camaraderie.
advertisements.
Yeah,
So some of our advertisements.
right.
Do you remember the Hershkovich for G&G?
I don't remember. Oh,
That was very
a while
powerful.
ago.
Long, 10 years ago, maybe,
Yeah, okay.
maybe even more. where you had Hershkovich for the Rally Hotel, giving videos and days. You just had Moshe Feldman for Kroos, Stramel or something, or from Millerstreich, denk je, dus van weg.
Right, like you put a celebrity in a zach, so you feel like now you're a celebrity.
Correct.
But in reality, you're not. So it's a white lie, and I just felt uncomfortable with it. With like the fact also that we're not trying to sell a good product. We're trying to squeeze money out of the client, out of the customer.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to actually perfect the product, sell it, and let the product speak for itself. Sometimes you can literally just show a product on a thing and just, you don't have to write anything. Usual Goldenflow had a beautiful ad recently. He said, our milk is already in your fridge.
Yeah, our ad is in your fridge.
Yeah,
right?
we know, it's there. It's all we need to know is just the product. Just vase the product and I'll decide already if it's good or not.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to show some sort of a lie, or twist your brain in a certain way that's going to make you want to buy I don't understand. Is it a good product? Is it not a good product? If it's a good product, we all know it's going to sell.
Yeah.
If you just show it, you have to show it.
Wow.
You can't just not make an ad. You got to show it to people. You have to put a sign. We sell this, otherwise nobody's going to know.
Yeah.
But Hishtadlis would be that. Hishtadlis would be just showing up.
Yeah.
Do something. But to start twisting that already, it messes with the betuchen part of it. It's like, hold on, you have to lie now? You think God needs your lie? Like,
Yeah.
Don't worry, he's got this.
Right. I think that's one beautiful thing about you, Moshe, is that the Alzai lead, you're very real. You're very real and you like the truth. So in every conversation that we have, sometimes I have conversations on my WhatsApp status or whatever, you're there seeking for the truth. And I think that if basically what you're saying is when a person has a business or a product or a service, whatever, if they can be truthful about what they're selling, to who they're selling it, and what the results will be, then they will be a lot more matzliach.
100%. If they're supposed to be matzliach with this specific product. 100%.
Yeah, I saw that in my business. I do social media marketing. It's something that many companies are interested. And honestly, I have a hard time because this week, I'm curious your opinion. I'll ask you a question. I had 3 companies call me to do social media, okay? In different forms, different platforms. But one was a Stramel company. The other was a water company, a water service company. They deliver water to your doors, like the 5-gallon,
the big one,
the
yeah.
big ones. The other company is a gutter company. They make the gutters, as the regen zal rangen, and shouldn't flood your house or whatever.
Okay.
And these are 3 companies that have never done something like this in the past. They're different niches, they're different categories completely. And I couldn't decide, is this a simon and shamayim that, okay, explore something new with your team, or is this a simon as, no, stick to what you know, you're good with food or with specific products, right? I also do a lot of companies, not food. I do Eichler Jadeka, or organizing store, or Oak Spa, or I do a lot of different products with some team at food.
Well, like something you're familiar with, more comfortable.
Stay to what you're familiar with.
So what, you're asking me to tell you that?
I'm curious what your opinion is.
There's no way I can know this. This is something that, like, a balmoifis is gonna come. Nah, this is for you. This.
Nah, but this is an energy test. A Mensch will jetzt wissen. Zarazach mentions they do something and they get opportunities in different areas, and sometimes the right thing to do is to stay in your lane, and sometimes the right thing to do is to try something. No, go out of your comfort zone.
True. So there's this I got from my Rebbe.
Yeah.
He explained that Nevi'us still exists.
You want to share who your Rebbe is?
His name is Rabbi Yirmiyah Katz.
Okay.
He's a Rebbe's Rebbe. People don't really know of him too much, but he's the Baal Mechaber of Mikveh Mayim, which is the leading authority seifed on mikvahs.
Mikvahs, okay.
And also Tefedes LaMoshe. He has like 9 sfudim. And
You're a mikveh guy?
Really good. What do you mean a mikveh guy?
Hast du zu gehen in a mikveh?
I'm not like a mikveh guy. I go to the mikveh every Erev Shabbos.
Oh, so you are. That's called a mikveh
Yeah,
guy.
but I'm not a mikveh. I don't call myself, because a mikveh guy usually sits there and chills. If you
That's
listen
me.
to my new song, a mikveh la'aran aros.
Yeah.
I can't sit over there and makratz the feet. I can't.
No, I go and nobody's
I
a
go with a
mikveh.
mikveh with a purpose.
Uh-huh.
I'm there for Shabbos. I go
Right.
there. Aran, I have in mind whatever I have to have in mind for Shabbos.
Yeah.
Gleitzich, meaning I'm nothing, I'm bittel, and God put on my new Shabbos clothing when I come out.
Yeah.
Come out, because it's a ritual. I have to do the next thing. The Shabbos, Friday is like
Right.
a crazy ritual day.
It's a spiritual zaak, wat zich wel about reden taken van spirituality.
So my Rebbe, yeah.
Ja, der Rebbe, ja.
So
Ik was zeggen, ik wegen mikveh is het einzige was ik ga nog van square is als ik ga liep te gaan naar mikveh. I used to go years, maar ik ga jede einzigste tag.
yeah.
Hand ga ik jeden tag. Ik mijn square met de jeden tag mikveh is trappelen in my opinion, a bisschen extreme. I respect it,
The
though.
must,
But it's
yeah,
yeah, like the misgaan jeden Tag. Ich habe es getan für Jahren lang, but now I see it as an regel.
You know that Arizal only went Shabbos? I mean,
yeah?
Erev Shabbos?
I didn't
Arizal.
know. Okay, interesting to know.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy the mikveh. So like when ich darf clarity oder ich darf a refresh oder a this, ga ich ein mikveh, daven, whatever. Und ich kann gehen 3-4 noch Mittag auch. But it's a certain purification. Was a viele lahavdil, by goyim and whatever, they also have a ritual. They know that water is purifying or whatever. So, but they mention some the resentment gegen mikveh. I want to say, no, mikveh is it's a nice ritual to go into water.
It's worth it to work your way back out of the, if you have trauma from the mikveh, whatever, it's worth it to work you. I don't want to touch the mikveh. No way, I'm not going there.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially when it's packed. Nobody wants to go.
It's also, my mikveh here is crazy, beautiful. Probably schon gewesen bei Ries.
I was never,
Wie geist die? Baba, die geist Baba ein, Baba. Ich bin auch gewesen dort. It's kleiner, ja,
very small, but I don't care if it's klein, because Aran Aros doesn't matter.
Yeah, so anyway, you're Rebbe.
So my Rebbe, he explained something where Nevi'us still exists. It was taken away to the certain levels, but everyone has, Nevi'us is a part of you. He says Nevi'us is part of your neshama. Your neshama, it's a piece of God.
Right.
So if it's a piece of God, you can hear God speaking to you. However it is, whatever small voice, if you refine yourself and take away the static enough, that's why meditation works a lot. You can clarity is basically Nevi'us.
Yeah.
You don't really, it's just clarity, it's my brain. No, it's God. You're connecting. You looped, the lasso and you're connected. Now you feel the vibrations.
Yeah.
You know the little kite song with the kite, the kid who was flying a kite is Steinish?
Yeah.
How could you fly a kite? There's nothing up there. He says, no, I feel it. I feel the wind pulling. So basically he said that if you ever have a question, there's a couple ways to do it. But if you have a question, it's really, really bugging you, and you want to know, what should I do? What should I do? Any kind of question in the world. This could be like, you don't have to judge yourself on the question. Echte question, what should I do? From now till tomorrow, I need to make a decision. He says, you're going to get the answer if you just clear your mind. Just focus on that question, though. You have to really feel it. You're going to get the answer. He said it could come in many different ways. He says if you really want to force it, whatever, you can open up any seifet, anything, open up a Tehillim, just a random page, you'll find the answer there. I did it a few times. Spot on. And every single time I ask the question again, exactly, people are going to tell you that it's just your mind playing games. But Nachamul, your mind playing games is not you either. It's also God.
Yeah.
He's playing games with you. He's in your mind.
Yeah.
So he said that he was once dealing with a crazy, horrible case of trauma and abuse, a whole thing. And this person's life fell apart afterwards, years later. It was horrible. And he deals with these cases day in, day out. And he had questions on God. He's like, how could you? This person doesn't deserve it. Like, I don't understand. He was Osmanch the whole day, and he went to daven mincha in I think Rapshitz or whatever, and he couldn't. His mind was not. He just wasn't focusing, and he usually focuses.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get himself to focus. He's davening, and there's this Mashalach from Israel, and he's on the phone loud. Usually people get annoyed. What do you mean? I'm in the middle of davening. He's saying. In Hebrew, he said, you don't have to understand everything.
Wow.
And he took it. He's like, sometimes you can walk in the street and hear a no from a porch, and they're talking to you.
Yeah.
You could really know. So it's trust your gut, and I say trust your gut in Yiddish, dan Gott. Trust dan Gott.
100%. I love that. Beautiful. Yeah, and I'll take that advice. So Emma's nine, because if we think about it, in today's world, when we want a message from the Bashefer, the only messages we can get from him is through experiences. We can't hear his voice. So when Mezeta experience from the Bashefer, when you experience something, it's either a person or a gewisse Zach that gives you a sign, that's his way of speaking to us.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, when an opportunity comes, you should take it. You should take it. Of course, die das noch halt deine eigene boundaries und wissen, was dir. Das meint nicht jedem Mal, ich sehe etwas. Das meint nicht jedem Mal, wenn ich sehe eine Zigarette, einer gibt mir eine Zigarette und meint, ich muss es nehmen. It might still be bad for you. Und du kommst an boundaries. Nein, ich will keinen von meinem Held oder ich will nicht an einem Mensch, was reicht. But the point is, das meint eigene boundaries. But wenn eine gute Opportunity kommt zu dich, und jeder gewöhnlich weiß, was gut oder schlecht meint, then take the opportunity.
Yeah. God's not here to confuse you.
Yeah, I
He's
agree.
not throwing you, okay, I'm going to throw you a curveball you never saw coming. And he's like, yeah, you didn't get it. Like, doesn't care for that.
Ja, ja, beglaal, ich meine Menschen darf verstehen, als wenn when zij haben the idea from Bashefer, and for me this was the most challenging thing. Like the idea from Bashefer is nicht gewähnt the idea was steht in der Teure oder nicht steht in Svurim oder sicher nicht das chassidische Svurim sogenannt wegen der Bashefer. Mein idea from Bashefer gewähnt, this was came passed down. Like es ist either gewähnt von a Yingel and Chayder, a Malama the Chayder, even sometimes parents, they give you this idea of the Bashefer, and we're allowed to question, is deze was zij leren mich aus wegen der Eibester? Is deze the Eibester? Oder nicht? Rav mentioned, by the way, Zara sich mentioned, was an attack in Mekisher, tia Cypher, oder tia heilige Yid, will have a whole different perspective of the Eibester.
Yes, 100%. And I know why. I know why this happens. It's not anyone's fault, right? It's like if you're trying to give over a huge amount of voltage to a little kid, he's going to accept, even if the person tries to teach him a certain way, he's going to accept it differently. He's a kid. He can't contain that.
Yeah.
So he's going to, whoa, I don't know, it might be scary, it might be something else, however he's going to take it. And eventually that kid grows up, and sometimes he didn't do his own thinking, too much, and he still has that idea of God, and then he gives it over to the next person.
Right.
And then everything changes. There's going to be a few people in the world who still have that, or somewhat pure version of being able to give over what this phenomenon of God is.
Yeah.
And those people, it's good to connect to.
Yeah, because what are the results that we have? Most of the results that we have is people that are unfortunately, I think, not connected to the Rabbanu Shalom.
Yeah.
And das ist auch, was man darf arbeiten auf. Meaning, wenn Menschen sagen, ja, es geht so, wie es ist so. Nein, es ist nicht geht so. Like, you're doing something wrong. Because if you meet an average Bucher auf ein Gas, or average Meidl auf ein Gas, and frag sei, do you have a connection with God? They don't have, and I'll tell you why you don't have. It's because dan Rebbe or the teacher had nicht gewiss, wie sie das dich auszulernen. Today it might be different. I know for sure that my Malamda Machaider, they did not know how to give us over this message. They were either Holocaust survivors or kids of a Holocaust survivor, and they did not grasp the concept of a loving Bashefer.
They were just giving over whatever they had to give over. And
Correct. Meaning they didn't have time to focus. Not they meant bad. As if it's survival.
Yeah, it was survival mode. Zicher.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much to say about this, but yeah.
I think that this is where I get into a place where when I learned that there's a difference between religion and spirituality. In Northern Mavachosgland, as Judaism is nicht kein religion, these three things changed my view forever. Wie sich kijk aan zweite Yid, wie sich kijk aan Mensch, is heiliger oder frimmer wie mich or whatever. This to me changed everything. And
what is Judaism?
Judaism is
like
ich kijk so wie Amanifger. Ich kijk so wie Amanifger. Ich will Menschen noch eins sagen, van me gaat daran de schmies, is that ich meine, man darf auch het verstehen, as do a difference between Teure, Halacha, Manhugam.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, and this is sehr, sehr wichtig zu verstehen, I think. Because sehr sag Menschen, sie machen sehr starke confusion, and then they lose...
The Iker.
Ja, the Iker, also wie du sagst.
Yeah.
So it's like, jeder is entitled to haben a gewisse Minig. And these bist entitled to halten a Minig. It's beautiful to halten a Minig. But... Was sollen sagen, so viele Menschen, was haben nicht keine Connection zu was ist echt, wegen was ist fake.
Right, if the minig supports, helps you connect to the real,
yeah.
Yeah. But if you just got the minig and now the real is thrown out the window, I don't understand. What?
Right.
The minig is nicht heilig in itself, only when it's connected to something heilig.
Correct. And at the bottom of all this is that a Mensch darf wissen, als hat ein Herz, und was viel richtig ist, was soll tun. At the end of the day, was viel richtig is was soll tun. Versteht sich so. So a teure, halt de teure. But a Mensch soll tun, was viel is richtig within the boundaries. Yeah, I'm saying, but within the boundaries. Zanisht, es ist Rachmuna liebe Boye. So this kommt zurück a ganze Zeit zu der Concept. Like, tomertiste alles Blinderheit, demels was is wert deine actions.
Mechanical.
Yeah.
You can get a computer to do it.
And I also want to clarify, ich kann reden von meine Sachen. Ich bin ein Yid, wo es ist schon mit euren Mitzvahs. Ich halt alles. Ich tue alles, wie weit möglich. Meaning, ich kijk me gewoon wie Ayid was, ich bin noch in derselbe Lane wie ich bin aufgewachsen. Ich bin zur Square Geide, Square Yeshiva. Ich die noch alles ping derselbe, but alles hat sich getauscht Meanings für mich.
Tiefer.
Alles ist tiefer, alles hat eine stärkere Riesen. Jede min Sach, was ich die, hat eine gewisse Sibbe, für was ich die ist. Von der stärksten Sachen wie Shabbos, Kashrus, Halucha, Hashkofa, alles hat eine Sibbe, für was ich die ist. Und es ist nicht dann, weil man mich gesagt hat, es ist ihn. And I wish, als jede Bucher und jede Meidl kann das incorporaten in sein Leben. Frag dich Akasha, für was ist die Sachen? The why.
100%.
Ja.
I have this always, and anything if I ever forget, I always have to constantly remind myself, just remember the why. No matter what, whatever you're doing, if you're drinking a coffee, whatever it is, why am I doing this? Why?
Yeah.
Why did I go? Why am I living? Like, why am I doing anything? Why am I waking up? Why am I going to sleep? There has to be a why. Otherwise, you're a robot.
Yeah.
You have to know the why. And yeah, a lot of people don't know the why, and then they get miserable. Eventually, there's nobody that's just like, good. Eventually, you're either going up or going down. It's not emotions. They're never just like stable. You're not a machine. You know?
Right. How do you see the difference between, and if you can explain the difference between Judaism, religion, and spirituality? It's a
I
very
wanted to know
difficult
if you
question.
have the word, because you said Judaism is not a religion, and it's not a, what did you say? There's another thing you said. Whatever. Well, what if you give me one word? What is Judaism? You said I'm a nifche, but what does that mean? Translate it in English in
Judaism
one
is
word.
an identity.
Identity, but that's a very broad term.
It's who I am.
Okay.
Ich bin Ayid,
that's
en ich
good.
kan keinem nicht weggaan für uns.
Right. It's,
En
well,
ich will
that's
nicht
very-
weggaan für uns. Baruch Hashem, when I get the bracket, I would never want to not be a Yid or not act like a Yid.
Yeah.
Because
You know, the whole Ashrei Yosher V'Seichel.
yeah.
That's you're thanking God for making you Jewish. Like it's pretty much it. Like wow, you know how I think Nachman talks about this. Is you know how lucky you are. You could have been someone else completely.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have gotten this type of, and this is the word that I want to get to. This type of relationship with God. It's a marriage. Judaism is a marriage. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's you and God. And everyone together is in this together. That's where we all have to come together. Because otherwise, it's a messed up marriage. Everybody's just flying all over the place. You have to step up. You gotta be in the game.
Yeah.
And if you're not happy, he's not happy. And if he's not happy, you're not happy. So what's going on?
Nah, so the reason I bring up this concept as ich bin a Yid is because me growing up in Geider hat man gewusst, Tomer tiste die set von Sachen bist a Yid, Tomer tiste nicht die Sachen bist a nicht Yid, bist a Goy. I don't know why I even grew up with these kind of extremes.
It's funny.
Ich weiß nicht, die hat das gehad?
Yeah, a little bit,
Okay,
a
okay.
little bit, yeah.
Ich mein Hand ist es nicht so mehr. I don't know. Man redt schon du Hand 20 Jahre später, wenn ich bin in
So
Geider.
nicht so al-karchach, meaning they forced them to not be like that, but still, I'm a teacher now. I'm an English
Right,
teacher.
okay.
And I see different things, different people. Of course, there's a very big variety of different types, but I do see that it's still in the people. They would love to give that old message over, but they can't.
Ja,
They're
nice.
forcing them not to, a lot nicht.
So auch du jüngere, neuere Melamdam. Like, einem ich gesehen mit companies, ich getroffen einen bei Marketing Expo, and I met one of the biggest marketing days, and she was telling me that, like, ja, die das verstehen. The alte Menschen was running the companies jetzt, and noch ein paar Jahre rim, they're not going to be running companies anymore. They're going to be dead. And sie geht sein jüngere Menschen was running companies, and sie gehen da von social media. So you just keep doing what you're doing. So ich sage dieselbe Sache wegen Kinder. It's like,
It's gonna bust, yeah.
it's gonna buzz. They harsh way. It's not working.
Yeah.
Because the youngsters as ich treff, zij zijn all out there. Information is available to everybody.
The mamas don't understand this. I see my students, and I'm just an English teacher, the last two, which you see most of what Malamdim don't see, you see in the last 2 hours, because that's when they're at the brim.
Right.
They're done.
Okay.
I wrote a whole thing now about my experience. It's just my first year as a teacher.
Yeah.
I loved every bit of it. I would never give it up. You can change people's lives just in 2 hours at the end of the day,
Right.
because that's when they're the most vulnerable. Mamash.
Yeah.
So you can do crazy things. So I'm able to see how these kids, there's no connection between them and what they're being taught. They know so much more. They're about to know so much more.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And like, it's a fight. You can't have this. You can't do that. And they're like, like, and these are fifth graders. It's over.
Yeah.
The fight is over.
Ja, so anyway, so deze is Judaism. En nachdem so ich will Menschen noch verstehen the message. A Yid is a Yid. Wie sie jetzt really green dingen, a Yid is a Yid. Nicht gechillig with the biz, with the whatever, something like that. Like, you really always stay a Yid. En nachdem as a sag, wie zijn a religious Yid, was meint, halten, wat?
Willen halten.
Willen halten. Nein?
Liebe boy.
Ja.
You want to. That's all you need.
Ja.
If you want to hard enough, eventually you'll
En gaat me echt choose te zijn een religious Yid. Nein? At the end of the day, kijk ze de most Yid in de wereld zijn beglanische religious. Ze halten niet Shabbos, ze halten niet Kashrus met deze. Kijk op ganze Israël daar. Hoeveel doet dat? 10 miljoen Yiden, 10 miljoen mensen?
Some of them don't even know.
They don't even know zijn Yiden met deze. So du hast gesagt von Willen sein, das ist eigentlich described this. Und nachdem du aber etwas anderes, nachdem du sagst, was heißt Spirituality. Ich meine, das ist in der Weg, wie man halt jetzt. Spirituality meint, als wenn als viel a Goy kann haben ein Gefühl von, will sein connected, will sein etwas Hechers, weiß nicht was. Für uns expressen Spirituality, obviously, dadurch in zijn a Yid en dadurch in zijn a religious Yid. Aber deze ook het a level was, de sibbe van wat zich brengen is door raus, is weil a mensch, a viele de feels wie du bist nicht kan Yid meer, a viele de feels die bist nicht religious, oder in einer gewisse area von dein Leben feels du wie du bist nicht matzliach. Kennst du noch als sein spiritual? Kennst du noch als sagen, Beschäfer, Gott, helf mich. Ich will sein connected zu dich. Es ist eine ganz andere Neuse von wie sein. Es ist basically, die drei Sachen sind, es ist connected, but es ist nicht.
Yeah, I think it needs our whole idea about was is Ayid, was is Agoy, was is the Eibishter, it needs reframing completely, because we've been taught certain things that's more of a trauma response.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in it, Ayid, gar nicht da weg, die gehen an, bis medisch, kiek nicht auf keinem, and that's it. You have to do what you gotta do, and don't, the ganze Welt, fech.
Yeah.
You are kudish, and that's it. Really? We've been doing this for how long? Like, now what? What's the next step? There's no next step? What? We're just supposed to stay the same always? We're missing the point. The Eibishter created a world of people. And he created an entire world, and they're all B'Tselem Elikim. A Goy is a B'Tselem Elikim. He does not have that specific piece of his neshama that's a Chalik Lekam Imam Mamish. That's for a completely different purpose. That's become a Mamleches Kahanim. What is a Mamleches Kahanim? A kingdom of Kahanim. Like we have kahanim in Judaism, we have kahanim, and what's their jobs? People forget. Their job, they were the spiritual leaders of Klal Yisrael. They had to teach everybody. So when you came to the Beis HaMikdash with a carbon, a kohen would sit down with you, stand with you. He wouldn't sit down in the Beis HaMikdash. He would stand with you and go through the process and talk to you and spiritually elevate you enough to make you, change you, completely change you. So it says, I think Josephus writes that people would faint when they saw the Kohen Gudel or something.
Wow.
It was an experience that you can't imagine, because these people really, really know how to connect people. So now we have Kahanim. Why are they a Kohen and I'm not? I don't know. Why are you male and not female? Because God decided. I don't know exactly. Yeah, I'm sure there are reasons. Okay, I don't have to know everything, but maybe one day I'll find out, right?
Yeah.
But they are here for us. I look at them. They're like they're doing the dirty work for everybody else. It's not dirty work, but they're like doing the job for everyone else. It's their job. Yeah. So it's their job to make everyone else elevated. Mm-hmm. Now, our job as Jews is to make the world elevated. It's our job. You ever see like, don't worry, the guy in the gas, dan hit the rekel, and the goyim guy zayn. The guy in zayn was high stayid. No. Yeah, also. Sunshine. But the point is, you have to do the right thing, not just to hit an ekel.
100%.
You just gotta get the mensch, tziyedem, pull over on the side of the road, nicht nur farayid.
Wow.
Pull over on the side of the road. You're a kingdom of kahanim for the entire world, not just what's a kohen's job.
Wow.
He's not just supposed to be in his own little spot. He's supposed to help everyone. So we're people don't realize. I think the Lubavitcher Rebbe, towards the end of his life, he started doing this, where he wanted to make the entire world spiritually elevated. B'nai Noach, we call them, right?
Yeah.
Shevim, it's B'nai Noach, and these are basic morality, just basic 7 rules, which God created the world to do that. This
Wow.
is how a guy is going to be able to connect to God, and one of them is just believe in God and just accept.
I love that. I think it's a beautiful conversation. I want to switch to a lighter topic because I want to get this conversation going. Of host of latest talks for many co-host. I'm sorry, yeah, co-host of one of the hosts, but co-host of latest talks.
Yeah.
Run me by it. How did you meet Penny? Ik maak zich mensen kennen van ze zijn woonherende massa. How did you get to Penny? How was it to sit on a podcast? You met so many famous people on the podcast. Who were you most inspired by? Whatever, I can go. I'll give you the questions as we go, but talk a little bit about that experience.
Okay, so there's 2 different stories. One is Penny's version and one is my version. I only remember my version. Penny will say, nice, and it didn't happen like this. This is what I remember. I remember sitting in my car, maybe like a year or 2 or 3, maybe after my chasana, and Penny tells me he's going ahead with a podcast. I'm like, okay, what's it called? Latest talks. He's thinking latest simchas is this, and
Because
latest
he
talks.
bought the platform, yeah.
He's figuring it out. And he's looking for, for people. He told me he's looking for people. He meant looking for hosts,
Yeah.
co-hosts. He says he got chilu posen. Would you come? And I'm like, I thought he meant as a guest.
Yeah.
Stam redden auf a podcast? Okay, no problem. I don't mind. I said, sure, I'll come. Okay. Wieviel wirst du wen bezahlt? I'm like, a minute, was? Bezahlt? Okay, you mean a host? Okay, I already said yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, I'm in, no problem.
Yeah.
It can't hurt. So, an hour once a week, he claimed then. It was an hour once a week, big deal. And yeah, Taka, I was in. I helped him make the logo. He had his idea, and I moved it around. We polished it up and made it a shiny logo. And we came down to the studio, and yeah, originally we didn't have any guests.
Right.
The first 2 or 3 episodes,
Right.
we didn't have any guests.
Yeah.
And it was stam geschmiest, and it was it was Peter. But it was interesting until I told him, like, we're stumped just
Mold Wasser,
yeah. You don't know what we're talking about. We can't know about everything. So I said we have to get a guest. So I arranged that he should be able to get Jake Turks.
Ah, okay.
And now he's back with Jake Turks, the latest episode that he put out with Jake
Yeah.
Turks.
Very interesting episode.
Turks is a whole different story since then. But then, yeah, so we got Turks. He spoke about his White House thing, and that was still very fresh, and we were still figuring out the inside joke, creating the inside jokes. You know?
Right.
I still used to wear that Roite Hamid just to draai met Chilu, and Chilu would
Yeah.
respond. It was a whole party. And yeah, eventually, and then we had Abe Breyer, who was a phenomenal episode. What's his company? The
John to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John to go. Phenomenal episode, and that already picked up. People were still, hey, I'm in it.
Stittig
What is
episode.
this? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
when they started listening. But yeah, I people ask me why I did it. So first of all, why I did it is because it's interesting. Why not?
Yeah.
But I also, why did I stay? Like, it's not a lot of money. Like, I didn't care.
Yeah.
Why did I stay? It's because I get to meet interesting people, very interesting people, behind the scenes, not even in the podcast. Like, before the podcast, after the podcast, they schmooze.
Yeah.
And I can find out so many interesting things about people that we always hear about, but we don't see them in person, in private. And it was fascinating, really fascinating. You see who they are for real.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a special thing. People noticed one thing about me on the podcast is that I barely ever spoke.
Yep.
So if you want to hear why,
Okay.
a couple of reasons.
All right.
The first reason that everybody knows, and I already said it a few times, was just push it. I want to listen. I'm
Yeah.
here to listen. I'm a host. I'm not a speaker. Right now, Baruch Hashem, I'm talking, I'm chewing ear off. So I could talk. Finally, I'm bursting. But but over there, I was there to listen. And I'm there to kind of maneuver the conversation in a certain way where
Yeah.
to get out certain points. But otherwise, schwag.
Yeah.
And also there were 3 hosts. There was plenty of questions. Any question that they wanted to give out already was there.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to ask too much. Now, here's the real reason. This is the camera reason.
Okay.
The real reason is I stutter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe you wouldn't notice it because I'm speaking English and I'm not stuttering.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to stutter in English very badly. I took all kinds of therapies as a child, and eventually I learned how to see. I just stuttered right now. Right now, you wouldn't notice that it's a stutter because I didn't do da 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 da. But I thought, and I'm going to change the word that I was supposed to use to a different word in its place. I just stuttered.
Interesting. Wow.
So I know English well enough that I can change that. Yiddish is my second language, even though I did go to Cheder where they spoke Yiddish all the time. But it's still, I'm not that familiar with it. I don't know all the synonyms, like the different words for different things, and I can replace it. I'm not that well versed in it. So when I speak Yiddish, I start stuttering like crazy.
Yeah, which Cheder did you go to?
I learned in Yagla Toide, Ger,
Yeah.
and then in 5th grade I switched to Chassan Seifer,
Right.
which is also Yiddish.
Wow.
And it's more of a Heimische place, not like super Hasidish. Even
Yeah.
Yagla Toide back then was very, very mixed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Very
so
interesting.
this is why.
So
I spoke
hold on.
Yiddish-
So why didn't you talk? Was it in English? Or
So when I spoke English, they would start saying, I'm in this Yiddish podcast. So try to speak Yiddish. I would think of a way how to speak Yiddish. And then I would have to think. And by the time I thought about it, someone asked the question that I wanted to ask. It's very difficult. It's a podcast. It's not just I wouldn't care to stutter really, but it's a podcast. I want people to enjoy what I'm saying. You know, there's a certain, you have to speak eloquently. So otherwise, if I would have a really important question I really wanted to ask, I would say it in English and I didn't care. And people knew, okay, Moshe is the guy that randomly speaks English of the Yiddish podcast.
Can we be honest?
Yeah.
99% van mensen doen Yiddish and English dezelfde.
Zeker, but he had an audience in London, I think, that would be very upset every single time I spoke because they didn't understand it. They didn't
Ik
understand
heb ook
English
het
so well.
zeer grote audience in London. But
Yeah.
the bottom line is that, let's say, 97% of people in the community can English as I get Yiddish. And at least when it comes to listening. So heb ik me decided voor smaak van zeggen. And by the way, ik heb gezongen dezelfde dag of Yiddish. Ik read Yiddish because I would say 80-90% of my listeners are anyways Yiddish speaking. Yeah, I do have every podcast. I have five people will tell me, when are you doing something in English? I say, okay.
But even those that don't speak Yiddish, they understand Yiddish, a lot of them.
Many understand
Yes,
Yiddish, yeah. But it just happens to be that my podcasts come out at just a combination of Yiddish English, and this is what it is. This is my audience. This is who I cater. This is the sponsors that I attract. This is the business model. It works. So very interesting with the latest talks. Did you ever have to? I want to get some secrets as much as you can share. Did you ever re-record? How many breaks do you have? Is a podcast smooth sailing, or does it stop it sometimes? Does Penny go like, okay, hold on, let me stop the podcast off in toilet, and or is it usually as smooth as it looks on camera, whatever?
Okay, so right now I'm not on the podcast anymore. We'll discuss that soon.
Right.
But the last bunch of episodes that I was on, he shifted gears and we had a break in the middle, Taka.
Okay.
We had besides for the ad break, we actually took a break. We went out, we took a drink, whatever. So it was an ad break, so we can come back. Once we're taking a break, we can go out and stretch. But it used to be, it was pretty much straight. And if one thing would go wrong, he would either wink to the guy, we'll cut it out here, so he knows where to cut it out.
Right.
And it is an edited podcast, right? It has to be. It was very bapitzt, It was he's a major perfectionist. He has to be perfect. Penny.
Ich weiß. This is the conversations ich habe mit ihm. It's like,
Don't
Los
care so
noch
much.
van een perfectionist, gebe er ons een beetje meer and whatever. But ik ga het maar aanzoeken. Ik respect zeer sterk dan perfection.
I think his point wasn't money. I think a lot of
It
it
is
is
an
also
organization.
pushed on a village team.
100%.
For the cloud.
En van hem had hij geen probleem zich eruit te leggen and be the first one doing it. Even though he knew he's going to get hate met deze. Yeah. Probably in the beginning when I mentioned gefragt, wo ist das da? Machst du gnadisch met deze? And today he's so respected for what he does. He is the most kosher entertainment that you can have. Yeah.
So originally we had, I'm not saying with who, but we had a podcast where we recorded the entire thing. This is in the early days. Mamash, like one of the first few guests we had.
Okay.
And I can't say who because it never came out.
Right.
And he was there with his two kids, his two sons. They were watching like hawks. They were like, he's going to say something. He's going to say something. Make sure he has to show it to his wife, to his mother, to this, to yeah. Kids said afterwards, it was a beautiful episode. And Mekim Tzedek, someone in the family said no. It doesn't like it and this, and the whole thing in the garbage. And I think at this point today, he probably would have figured it out. He would have edited it and twisted it and this. He would have made it work work it out. But then he wasn't as advanced. He didn't have the people working on the. I'm not sure.
Right.
Today he's much more advanced. So that was one. Once we had a podcast with us, I'm not going to say who again. I'm going to mention some names later, but so we're not going to say who again. But he came down, and it was a whole thing. He was a politician. Came down, he spoke, and then at the end we realized it wasn't recorded.
Wow.
It was over. He was very upset. He didn't come back. A different time we had one.
How does it happen that it doesn't record?
So sometimes we have an engineer.
Okay.
And sometimes we don't have an engineer. And the engineer just tells them instructions what to do.
Yeah.
And the engineer wasn't there that time, and
They just did it manually.
He did a chop, yeah. He didn't. He pressed whatever, and he didn't press it. I don't know. I don't know how it went.
Dat spiegel.
Exactly. I love that. I really, you have like a mirror over there. You can see if it's recording. It's beautiful.
Yeah, for people that don't know, I have a camera, and at the back of the camera I have a mirror, and that way I can see right now. Every time I tilt my head, I see the mirror that my podcast is recording.
It's
okay.
amazing.
A third time.
Third time is Simcha Eichenstein, who's, by the way, like such a sweet, good person. Simcha Eichenstein. He tries to help out whenever he can. And he's a politician. He came, and it's a hard time. It's hard getting politicians because their schedule's crazy.
They're busy. Yeah.
So he came and finally made it. He came down. We recorded an entire episode. Mit Lachen, mit Dus, mit Jens. And it wasn't recorded.
Oh, wow.
And he said, we're coming back. I think he came back the next week or whatever. He came back and we recorded the same jokes, the same lachen. Everything you see over there is just a second reaction to all the things we heard already.
Oh my God.
And it was beautiful, but he was such a good person. He came back and he wasn't upset. It's a pleasure sometimes seeing these people in real life. That's one of the benefits I get. And I'm like,
you learn.
Wow. Some people are just, worked upon.
Were there also episodes that needed to be removed for any reason? You don't have to mention names?
Yes, one had to come down. That was an episode where it was so funny, the entire thing. We were laughing and laughing and laughing. And it ungeriet op Sachen wegen Pesach. Pesach is very triggering for a lot of people in regards to which menhugim yom. So he said something, he made a little comment on how the menhugim then, today it's a little different. People started he put it out.
Yeah.
People started commenting all kinds of hate comments. No, you're going to make people stop their menhugim. So he took it down. And I don't know if it was the right decision, but that's his decision to make. I wouldn't have done it because what's out is out.
Yeah.
It's geschehen and geschehen. This person cannot go in real life and talk about the same things.
Yeah.
So what difference does it make if it's recorded? But he made a strategic decision, more of a business decision. Took it down.
Right.
Yeah.
We can ook het cutten. Yeah, maybe he does that. We can cutten after our episode is out.
Yeah. After an episode?
Yep.
Is it like a new thing?
In the last few years, YouTube studios, you can cut. After I put out a podcast, I can cut. Yeah.
You gotta let him know.
Yeah.
Again, you live and you learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite podcast?
Okay. So my all-time favorite is clearly one, and then there's a close second.
Okay.
You're actually gonna like the close second. Ari Abramovich came on for the Peter episode because it's Ari Abramovich. He's a funny guy, right? Why not?
Right.
Well, we're stramlich and funny hats and everybody switching. It was Peter.
Okay.
Ari Abramovich got really open towards the end of the episodes. He got raw and open. He discussed how I think he was an English, it was a couple of years ago already, English principal or something, and he became a teacher, and he was able to really, I connected to that a lot because my father's a teacher, and I wasn't a teacher yet. I became a teacher this year, and I chapped how you can mamish change people. He got really open and raw. And
yeah, I watched that, yeah.
I was so moved by this person who everybody thinks is just
actor,
some guy, some funny dude.
Wow.
And it shook me. I don't know why, but it shook me a lot, and I think it shook a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that was a very, very special episode. I think it's one of the most viewed episodes on Latest
I
Talks.
saw, yeah.
And the close second is, why did I forget his name? No, he speaks. He has a shield, Muncie. He had
Shlomo Ehrlich?
Shlomo Ehrlich.
Oh,
Wow. He came twice.
Yep.
He's a special person. I got to meet him also in private, and wow. Not in private, but like
I agree with you 100%. You know, he was my first guest.
Right. Wait, not Fali Klein?
No. No, outside Fali Klein here
You know
twice.
she's my sister-in-law.
But you're right, that's me gesagt.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Shlomo Ehrlich was my first guest. We're family friends. And I'm gebeten, and he said yes.
He's a good guy.
So, ich habe gesagt, dass wenn wir jetzt choosen, dass du wenn Kili votes zu choosen a Rebbe für Klal Yisrael, I would vote him.
You'd vote him.
Ich kenne den Mensch, hat 6 phones, jede phone is an andere organization. He has organizations, he takes care of singles. He had a girls' school, which ich weiß nicht, ob sie noch offen jetzt, because I think it was just so hard to find funding or whatever. And he's a therapist, and he's a coach, and he is just everything you can be, and to all of that, he's also a nice guy.
Yeah, it's hard to be a nice guy when you're busy.
Yeah, is involved in zoveel organizations. Had the organization managing het Sroel, van Bocheram, met Sachen. Like the guy is just, and he's so smart, and I can get learning.
He gives
So,
out his
yeah.
daily, what's his daily videos?
Yeah, 30 seconds of
30 seconds
inspiration. Just a good person.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is from the podcast. This.
It's an experience, a very nice experience.
Right. What shifted now? You said you can talk about it. So episodes are shifted yet? So
That what?
meaning it's becoming now more one-on-one.
So now I left because I didn't have time and I didn't have the mind space. I was in a different space then. I became a teacher and things. I was never available and I had to really focus on my class and because there's a lot of work to put into a class.
Yeah.
If you really put it this way, if you're really teaching, it's a
Exactly.
lot of work. If you're not teaching,
True.
it's very easy. But I really focused a lot on that, and even I even opened up my own podcast
Right.
for a minute.
Okay.
And I decided it's going to hurt a lot. I put in a lot of effort into it, but I'm cutting it quits right now, calling it quits, because I have to. If you open a podcast and you know this, darfst dich heranlegen.
Yeah,
This is
100%.
it's a decision that you're doing this full
Yeah.
time, and I did that before that, but I realized that it's clashing a lot with other things that probably matter more at the moment for me. So, yeah, I did it. It was also called Don't Quote Me,
Yeah.
because I realized after being on a lot of podcasts and talking, whatever, I decided, again, I didn't talk much, but I decided I don't want to talk anymore. When I talk between friends, I talk a lot, a whole lot. On a podcast, I don't. But I decided I'm being quiet. I want to hear people talk, and because I wanted to actually learn. And I had one episode with Shlomi Zions,
Yeah.
who I'm very good with. I became a business partner with him with his merch company, his
okay.
Candle and Strap. I do all the art,
Nice.
and I learned a lot. There's a lot to learn when you're just sitting quietly and just
Listening. Yeah.
taking it in.
Yeah.
But
He
then,
told me many times he would come up here as well. So
he's
he's
busy.
just not in the country. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's mamish busy. I know.
and lately even more.
Yeah, because he's in the White House now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Very nice. Do you know what happened there? So is this like Turks became busy? Turks is on the podcast,
no
Zions
clue.
in the days.
Seems like Turks got more available, but I have no idea. Honestly, I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Interesting. I think I have to speak to Jake Ochat. I know, I met him a few times, a nice guy.
I was actually a little Easter egg for the Chavra. Jake Turks and I were in the same. I never met him before, meaning at that time, but we were in the same video years and years and years ago. I was 12 at the time. If anyone ever saw Yankel Aretz,
Yep, I did.
so I'm the boy who makes fun of Yankel.
No way.
Comes into the Sikke.
Okay.
Have to go to the rides, and Yankel is full of honey.
Yeah.
So that video, I'm that boy. And Jake Turks, all at the end, where he learns, where Yankel learns in Israel.
Yeah.
He's learning in a yeshiva. You see two chavrisas that are going at it, like just fighting with each other. One of them is Jake Turks.
Oh, wow.
So he knew me from there. I knew him from there. I mean, we didn't meet, but I knew that he was in the video. And I
Right.
met in Lakewood a couple of years later. And, hello, Jake Turks. And this is before he was anything. He used to write with his mom then,
Yeah.
but people didn't really know too much about him. Now, so that's how I was able to get him onto the podcast,
Yeah.
onto Latest Talks.
Right. What is Moshe Milstein currently most passionate about?
I don't know. Depends on the day, depends on the minute. Well, for a while it's been teaching. for this year. I was very, very into teaching. Yeah, there's a lot about that, but also I'm learning more about God, like about connecting.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned so much this year. It's an incredible amount, and just it feels like I don't even deserve it almost. Like I just suddenly get windfalls of just, wow, thank you, thank you for this. This is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want to share what you
love,
learned?
Yeah, I would love to share this one thing. And I posted on my status. I don't know if you saw it, but a lot of people saw it. I think I can post and share it even more. And you might even disagree with this, but it's healthy.
Yeah.
It came to me the Shabbos before Shvius. I was davening Menche before Kabbalah Shabbos, and it just hit me like a truck. I was having that whole day, I was having this talk with someone about how it seems like this person was telling me, it seems like the relationship between us and God is not two-sided. I have to give and give and give and give, and he doesn't talk to me, he doesn't give back.
Yeah.
Like that's arguable. First of all, he does give, but but he didn't feel it.
Right.
I want to feel it. I have to do now everything. It's much harder for me to give than it is for him to give.
Right.
So it's a famous. We all had that feeling probably once in our life, and some people always have that feeling.
Yeah.
And I was trying to make the case that there's something in a marriage. You're selfless. You're selfless. When you realize you're both on the same side. You both want the marriage to work.
Exactly.
So then, if you realize you both want this, then just do what the other person wants you to do, and it becomes your will. It becomes what you want to do. It's not a fight anymore. That becomes what you want to do. You become a new person. You feel like you're sacrificing something from yourself, but you're really not. You're just becoming a new person. You're becoming a new self, which is a team self. Now, if you trust God. Trust God that he made you. He knows you. He knows how to make you. That means he knows what you need. And he said, everything that you have is for you right now. I can't give you anything better. You have the best possible life right now for you. Then why would you request something more? I'm going to get to that point. They're like, what do you mean? But if you have everything that's good for you, why would you daven? Why are you davening? I understand. What are you asking for? And I came to a certain point in my life before this person asked me this question where I asked my Rebbe, I said, wait a minute. It seems like technically you shouldn't be asking for anything. No bakushas. I'm good. If you gave me everything I need, I know better. I'm going to ask you, no, but I want this. So there are some people that talk about you're created in a place of lack and you need, and you ask the Eibush and the Eibush that gives you, and there's this whole relationship. Fine, put that on the side for right now. We're talking about a different concept. You have what you need. So I asked my Rebbe, and my Rebbe said, you're right, on a deeper level, Shemana Esrei, all these bakushas, first of all, there's no other bakushas in the whole davening. You don't ask bakushas, only Shemana Esrei. Shemana Esrei is the mid-section is bakushas, it seems like. He says, it's not what it seems like. If you go deeper in Kabbalah, you're not asking, it's thanking. And attributing. Attributing, not just thanking, saying, I'm in it. Dib is the Baal Rafias. You're the person who's marba l'slayach. You're the person who likes tshiva. You're the person who builds Yerushalayim. Oh, you're basically taking the ropes, connecting it. Yerushalayim. This is all Gedich. This is the tzaddik. Also you. Everything is you. Everything is you. And it's chazaning over and over 3 times a day. I figured, how many times do I need to chazar this over to constantly remember that? 3 times a day. Probably more, but 3 times a day is perfect. In the morning, middle, and then I realized, you just have to align your will, your rootzen with the Eibishter. The Eibishter wants what's best for you, so then why don't you want that?
Yeah.
So just take it. And then, so I was there, and I was still struggling with that concept. And he was like, wait a minute, so I have to give up for myself? That's crazy. I said, wait a minute, why is it so crazy? And then it hit me. In the middle of davening, I was davening Shemana Esrei. I was thinking about kabunas. And, sorry, I'm getting very...
Yeah.
So the Rambam discusses kabunas, and it's a question that we have. Nobody's comfortable with kabunas. Everybody who thinks about it, it's like, I'd rather not go there because, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. Kabunas? Kill an animal, and suddenly I need to kill an animal because Valdos soll ich sein. I should have been this animal now who went through all this pain and whatever.
Right.
Really? First of all, I did it by mistake. Why? I don't know, I got the Yetzer Hara, maybe. Who made this Yetzer Hara? The Eibishter. He gave this to me. So now I have to now go and kill an animal. Why? Because this is what should have happened to me. I should have been
Yeah.
shechted for something I did by mistake that's barely my fault.
Yeah.
Like, what is going? It's so weird. It's so weird. And the Rambam Taka writes that all these other kabunas were just because the world was, that's what they did in that time, and they wanted to get us used to it, which is very hard to understand. Really, we're supposed to copy everybody else just because,
Yeah.
it's the kabunas. But also, chatas, he says, is because you look at the carbon and you look at all the stuff that's going through, and it cleanses you because this is what you would have done to me. This is what I deserve, and it bothers me to no end because I'm sorry, Rambam.
Yeah.
This is not what you mean. I don't think he meant it like that. I think it goes a lot deeper. It has to go a lot deeper. And then that's what hit me. When a person takes he does this shoygig, right? And let's put it this way: Reb Chaim Kanievsky or the Greste Gedoyle Hadar, they don't do shoygigs. What happened? The shoygig doesn't happen to them. Pavus nicht. And I realized a person takes this sheep. He watches it for a little bit, makes sure it's pure. He wants to bring a carbon. Did a shoygig. He puts a leash on it. He walks down. He cares for it. And this sheep, the sheep, whatever, the goat for a chatas, he walks and he has no idea. He's fine. The balabus is behind him. He's doing whatever the master wants. And answered by some mikdash. He goes up the steps. Sometimes the balabus holds him, on his shoulder to make sure he doesn't get nicked, so he can get like a psil. He goes with it. The kohen takes him, shechts him. Ties him first, he shechts him, he spills his blood on the mizbeach, he separates him, everything. And this sheep is ugunished. This goat, he's quiet. He's happy to do whatever his master tells him to do. And you're standing there on the side, watching this. You're looking at this, wait a minute. I should have been this goat, not getting killed. I should have been so aligned with my master that whatever, I'll take anything you send my way. I'm fine as long as I know that you want this. This is for you. You want what's best for me because that's what's going to make everything better. I'm fine. I don't have problem. So the biggest Gedolah Adar were so aligned with God's roots and that they just you're giving yourself up. You know that it's better. You know that this is what God wants. And they just don't end up in shoygig areas. It's just, I'm open. And it's a huge, high spiritual level to get. The realization is, and now you can tell how it actually cleansed them. Watching this whole system, a kohen would be like, I'm pure. I'm clean now. I'm never going to do this again. It's a special zach. It's hard to get there, but you see how it clearly is a real thing. And I realize it works in the words with the Rambam, and it's very nice.
Wow. Very, very nice.
It's perspective.
Yeah, it's a beautiful perspective, and the lesson is as in jede Sache du etwas man kann sich herauslernen. This is the lesson that you took, that everybody can take, and even though it was hard for you to understand, you said, okay, you know what, the lesson in them is this. And many things I think that, and we see it throughout the Torah and obviously in the Gemara, is that we want people to think two ways. Das ist the ganze point von der Dialogue in the Gemara zwischen der Machloikes bis umgekommen zu Maskuna oder Ataike, was that kijk, leren de grootste trachten zwei wegen. And I think ob a Bucher in Yeshiva kann rausnehmen dem mean lesson. Als wenn man sucht dem etwas, ist eigentlich du zwei wegen. Jede Sache hat a different perspective auch. Und was einer halt, meint nicht, dass das ist so. Es du einer was halt verkehrt. Und das steht schon in der Teure, als das was man geassert hat, der Teure auch hat Matter gewähnt. And there is no black and white. Und von jede Sache kann man sich rausnehmen, I think is beautiful. And regarding the relationship point with us gemacht, is the way I see it, and this is my personal thing, is that gerecht, the Eibishter redt nishians, ebavasach we can't see him. And there's a very clear reason why, which is that he is unlimited. The fact is he is unlimited. So the Regel wird sich bewiesen zu dich, oder gerät zu dich in any kind of voice, wird geproved otherwise.
Right.
So in order for him to stay the unlimited, or the Yoitzer call, the what, the Alamina Sachen, the Melechai, Lumam, and all of these things, darf auch bleiben behalten. Because als bewassigt zu dir morgen, was tracht ich? Was ga ich sagen? So the fact is, keiner seht ihm, keiner kennt ihm nicht, keiner seht ihm nicht. But they can't experience, also wie du sagst, a relationship mit der Eibishter. So was ich aber rausgenommen habe, is that gerecht, redt nicht mich und bewassigt mich. but ich kann reden zu ihm und ich kann mich beweisen zu ihm. So at least I can come 50%. En versteht sich sagen, Gott, ich rette dich. Ich habe ein Problem. Oder ich will dich danken. Ich will dich schäuchen für mein Leben. This is showing 50% of the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? So, I think that this is a starker point was I personally, was ich allein habe ich mich ausgelernt. Because ja, sie kennen seine challenge. You know, the challenge is ken ich hem, weiß ich was my relationship is. In so do noch a challenge, which is that Takarov mentioned, they choose to take on was mat, also wenn man geschmiss free, was mat ausgelernt als der Eibester is, because a sach schwerer, allein aufzubauen, a connection, an occasion mit der Beinschleulam, wie zu nehmen the connection, was jener gesucht hat, also arbeitet. Und von dem da so viele Menschen, wo die kennen sehen, was Blinderheit,
Spoon-fed.
yeah, they just follow.
It's a lot easier.
So it's challenging to treffen an eigene connection mit der Eibester, aber diese beitsam
It's also
was
so
man
much
darf
more
dienen.
rewarding.
Exactly.
If you work hard for your faith,
Yeah.
wow.
And to end all that you said is that what diese Azai geht gesagt, des as wie ich bin, meint der Eibester is wohl was ich wohl des is this is sehr schwer Sache auf Menschen verstehen das nicht, was meint acceptance of the moment. Like die bist in a gewisse situation, des meint des der Eibester gewollt. Wo huraie is weil Tomer wollte gedacht sein an einer andere Platz oder in einer andere situation wollte jens gewinnen. So ob die bleibst beemmes in der Beschäfer, als führt die Welt und als tut alles und als macht alles, ja, willst du accepted wie du bist. Und du bist ein Single-Bucher, willst du verstehen, diese, was will für mich. Weil ob nicht, wollte ich jetzt gewinnen gassen gehabt. Dann habe ich die Amount von Geld, dieses, was der Eibeste will. Weil ob nicht, wollte ich gehabt mehr Geld. Jetzt, of course, die kannst beten, kannst mit Spallen sein, kannst danken, die kannst Water tun, hast Water begieren. Aber der Platz, wie die bist, ist keinmal nicht kein Mistake. Weil das ist, was der Eibester gemacht hat. Und sie kommen zu der Platz, können kol, als du bist dort, ist dein Leben sache ruhiger, weil das accepted, dass der Eibester macht alles. Aber zweitens, wenn du bist in der Platz, als die verstehst, als wie ich bin, ist, was der Eibester gewollt, hast du das beste Leben. You literally have the best life. This is
Even if it hurts.
so Geschmack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, in Alpirov, it only hurts because you can't accept that reality. This mind.
It's only painful.
Yeah,
I think there's a difference between hurt and pain. It can hurt.
Yeah.
It's painful.
exactly.
Most of pain is just,
Exactly.
helps sleep.
Exactly. Now, the idea of a single bucher is the best example. Tomer gleich beemmes en bescheffer. Gleich als hat a derig van mich, hat weg. Weißt, by the way, this is a tip for any single bucher. The beste comeback, wenn dann sei de Baba, Vetter, Mime, Zichaver, sucht dich, wusstet sich mit a Schiddich, the beste comeback is the Eibester hat a Plan.
Yeah.
Wo geht man sei de mich zurücksogen, nachdem ich am des gesagt?
Also hat nicht, like, yeah, exactly.
Auf wem man sagt
He
bist
claims to accept the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In this is ook de Emmas. De Emmas is als hat a
100%.
Plan.
And it becomes an avoid also. It becomes like, I'm doing the right thing right now. If you're secure with yourself, that you know for sure you are doing God's will,
Ja.
was habe ich zu verlieren?
Ja.
I'm happy, I'm good. I know I'm covered.
Ja.
Ich ga eraan and you can literally wake up. I can't talk from a single perspective, but anything.
Ja.
Even as a parent, I have so many things to take care of because I take 3 kids,
Ja.
whatever, and this person's not feeling well, and I have to go to the grocery. There's a lot of stuff, and if you wake up in the morning and say, I know, but that's what God wants for me today. He wants me to have a lot of stuff to do, and we'll get there.
Ja.
I don't know. And then you go into it, even if it's not so calm, but you go into it with a mission as, that's what he wants from me today. I don't know.
Right.
That's what he wants from me. It becomes a mitzvah, not stam. It becomes a real mitzvah, and you're doing God's will, 100%. Not a mitzvah, tzatin, whatever. You're literally doing God's will.
Yeah. And I also love what you said about Shmona Esra, because me personally, I would never daven to ask or beg and have bakushas. So I love that you brought out the point in Shmona Esra, because it brings clarity from mich allein. Ich daven jede einzige Tag. In manchmal in Esser habe ich schon lang zurückgetauscht into a gratefulness. Wenn ich so Refuani Hashem van Arufai, I usually have in andere Menschen, and I also thank for my health. In Taka Apikabula, the sibba for what this is because I push it. Als a Mensch will bekommen etwas, als a Mensch will etwas von der Eibestir, kann es beten in zwei Wegen. Andere kann sagen, Eibestir, ich habe nicht kein Geld, schick mich Geld. Wo sucht aber in der Wörter, wenn sucht das, sucht basically, Eibestir, jetzt habe ich nicht kein Geld. So basically, was sucht ist, als hat nicht. Das kommt von seiner, was man rief, a lack Platz. Es kommt von einer Platz, von seiner low energy. Ich habe nicht kein Geld und ich darf Geld, das ist eine low energy. Versus, wenn ein Mensch sagt, Eibestir, schoi ich von dem Geld, was ich habe? Ja. Das kommt von einer Platz, wie sagt, Eibestir, die bist der Kol Juchel. Die kennst alles tun. Hast du schon getan? Als Wille ist, hat Eibig sein, als Sache mehr powerful, wie der Chanisch, ich kenne ich. Wenn die suchst das, basically suchst der Chanisch, die machst allein zu Häusig von dem Eibestir, because du suchst ihm, Chanisch.
You didn't give me what I need.
Exactly. En wem het schild is als een Chanisch, ze daar een schild, en van dem beter ich jetzt.
Right, it
Ze
makes
zijn
no
een
sense.
nebbichtige, ja, ze zijn een nebbichtige energy. Alles is energy. Alles is energy.
And if you're open, if you come from a place of acceptance, acceptance doesn't just mean what you have. You're open now.
When you're grateful,
You're open.
it means you're accepted.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
but once you're accepting, that means you're accepting. That means you're open. You're
Yeah.
you're open. Now you can
Oh,
connect
ich kann accepten de geld.
because this is also my Rebbe told me also. He said, the Eibishter wants every single person to have unlimited wealth, unlimited health, unlimited everything.
Right.
But you're a person, so now you have to open yourself up to it.
Correct.
Simple. And if you're not open to it, Pesach, a friend of mine, I can give him a shout out, Itche Rosenblatt.
Yeah.
He posted on a status something beautiful. Pesach hasidechu must be lechol charutzen. If your hand is closed, he showed a picture of water going down. So
Wow.
open. Pesach is like if you're not Pesach, then there's no roots and there's no nothing. You can't get anything. Ich get dich.
Right.
Even off.
Right. En als je nu gaat de pusik, Pesach is dechu, it must be lechol chai root zijn. So de kindstein, Pesach is dechu, de Eibischte macht ons aan, it must be lechol chai. En macht zat van jeder lebendige. Wo darf stein root zijn?
Oh.
Root zijn meint lood zijn willen. Wo es een mens wil, deze gaat de Eibischte.
And that's
Deze-
why you have to align your own roots in with what
Van
the
dem zoekt
Eibishter
men,
wants.
was mijn eerste ogen, die hele root zijn. Zal
Ja.
zijn van mijn willen. Alles hat zijn team, was een mens wil, deze het erbij komen. Also wie du zoekst. Also wie dan hebben gezegd, jeder mens deserft alles. Es is ins, was sometimes en stellen zich in de weg, en ins blocken de schefe. De Eibischter hat nicht kein Schim, das ist eine Sache, was auch man hat angelegt in ins early on. So nicht du kein Point System, so nicht du kein Calculation. De Eibischter ist, das sieht man an alle Pesiken, man überall. De Eibischter ist, in de Teure sind so, de Eibischter ist am Machaper, ist einer, was geht. De Eibischter hat lieb, hat nicht, choose nicht, hat nicht kein Favor. Der Rege, die halt das so, bist du is schon wrong, because the Eibischter nicht kann Fleisch am Bein, wo es keiner viele hoben, die meine grudges, wo die trachst, das hat. It's like, everything is, wo die betst, ja, get you know, the Shem Tov schreibt, the Eibischter ist so wie a shadow zu uns, wo sind die mir etetin? Und the Shem Tov schreibt, ein Mensch, es ist nicht möglich für ein Mensch auf viele Sündigen, because the hand, wo die sündigst, ist auch der Beschäfer.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the bottom line is it's very abundant and it's very beautiful. Und dieses ein Mensch choose gleiben in lebt mit einer gewissen perspective at the days hoben. And unfortunately, there are many Menschen, they want to choose that either God is bad or that they are distant or that they don't deserve. And so it is a combination von sie haben sich allein gestellt in seiner
It's
eigenen
circular,
Weg.
yeah. It becomes you're only distant because you're distant.
Yeah.
Stop it because you're saying you're distant. Hey,
Yeah.
auf zu sagen.
Yeah, and it's not even your fault because they was mal dich ausgelernt. Can I tell you something? If somebody grows up with an abusive father, you know what they think afterwards?
That
They
all
think-
fathers are abusive.
Yeah, and what else do they think? Which other father is
Well,
abusive?
fathers in general. So the father of everything for sure is abusive. Sicher.
That's it. It's
Yeah.
a simple calculation as to why people don't trust or love God. Because when they grow up with a God figure, which is at that point their parent, and unfortunately people are not perfect, and many parents are not very loving, or at least they try their best, but their best
Right.
is pretty bad sometimes.
A healthy father wants to give whatever the child needs.
And a healthy father also will never put you in hell, but it's a shmis for sich. So,
That's a whole nother podcast.
Anyway, we're over like an hour and 15 minutes, I think, Sean. Moshe, you want to talk about anything else that you thought maybe you want to share or uitleggen to the world, people to know? Anything you're working on right now that people can, you mentioned art, music.
So first of all, you can listen to my music.
Okay, so do music, so do pur songs?
So I have 3 songs out there that you can listen. One is a very older, like it's a much older one. I think it was 2018 when it came out. It's called Zmidas, but that's, I wouldn't align myself with that specific one, but you can listen to that. That's very nice out there. It's not as deep as the 2 I released this year. One is Lichtele for Chanukah. That's a very cozy, it's not for the summer, I don't think.
Okay.
Like I tried listening to it now, I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
need snow, but this next one is Shabbos, which is very much me.
Zayavaram, I heard it, yeah.
This is what I want to feel and I strive to feel, and a lot of times I actually get to feel Erev Shabbos and Kimaran Tashil, and it's a crazy moment. It dies very quickly if I don't really keep it up,
Yeah.
but it's a mahalach, and you can listen to that song and it's special. It's very raw. So that you can listen to. Shabbos, Moshe Milstein, you can look it up. What's noch? Oh, so I have a art piece that I want people to buy because I think it's a good to remember.
Right.
Always. It's a shtadlis. There's a famous art that had a person fishing.
Yeah.
And it says shtadlis, and then the other side is a bucket, and a fish is jumping into the bucket. On the other side, and it says betochen. And I decided to realistify it, to make it realistic.
Oh, wow.
With all kinds of different zachem, different softwares I put together, all the things that I do, and put it into one piece, and I sell it now. So you can actually check it out.
You can buy a print of it?
You could buy it on a canvas, printed, shine a framed canvas, 3 different sizes I have, and it's affordable. You know,
Wow.
I've had so many people, different types, fundraisers, salespeople. It's very good to always remember that.
Shine a gift, I can't get mention.
Yeah, give to your clients. I have people also. Yeah, so they bought it for their clients, for their new.
We'll put the
vendors.
link. Yeah, we'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, just for my phone number, for my WhatsApp.
We can put your WhatsApp also.
Straight
Yeah.
to the WhatsApp.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. I thank you, everybody. Thank you, Moshe, for giving from your time. It's a late Matzah Shabbos that we're recording here, and I very much appreciate it. Ich feel wie von, ich had schon bei 100 episodes, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I'm up there. You're forgetting, I do this every single week. Schon 2 Uhr.
Hey.
Yeah, so weet je, 2 Uhr from when I
So it
started.
could be I only looped in like last year.
You get what I'm saying? No, so, I started it officially, a year and a half to give him an eerste like official. But the eerste podcast ich habe auf YouTube, auf der Channel, is rausgekommen, 2 Uhr zurück. Jetzt sind wir wieder 2 Uhr. So, Baruch Hashem. Yeah. But I give out every week. So ich habe schon gleich ausgehabt, like latest talks, oder Schmilligkeit, whatever. Ich do noch ein Podcast. Yeah. So, Baruch Hashem for them.
Very nice.
What was I saying? Oh, I said the Chabad so many episodes that I never had an episode that I felt was like a lesson to people. And I think that you were the perfect person to bring Nein, bei Emmas, ich habe a major compassion zu Menschen. Ich weiß, wer meine Listeners sind. And it's a lot of young people that are out there, that they found they're searching, they're really, really searching a mahalach aderech. And what makes me more emotional is that I have this part, and that's why I decided to go PG-13. I can say even kosher, is that I learned that Chab listeners is an zayr young, like literally young kids, young bucherim, and yinge meidlich, and I get these messages on the hotline, and my manager schickt mich the positive ones, and es ist moeilijk zu sehen, wie so Menschen sind so dankbar für dem, because again, also wie ich gesagt, sie nicht du nach einer was das ist, Mama ist nicht du. Like, latest talks is amazing, but es ist einmal a chodesh, einmal in 2 chodesh, and whatever. Maybe he'll get more consistent, and I feel a schmilly cast. okay, it's not enough for them to listen. But when you have a podcast that comes out every week, Ashu, meint as mensen can anytime aankomen and they'll have something that they can listen to. So I feel so much achraized, but I also feel so grateful that I can redden to mensen and they gave the information. So bij hem, ik ben dankbaar voor jede meinam. It really means a lot. And that's why I decided I'm not going to focus dafka on views. Maar letzte paar podcasts zijn geen famous mensen. Whether it's you, die bent gerade ja famous, ich meine.
That's what you're the
But
Joel
Joe Walls I don't think he's a famous guy as a businessman. Father him again, laser ungar, a food distributor, Burg Schwarz, a sales guy. Like it's not very much famous people, and I'm staying in my lane. Like ich darf nicht heraufbringen famous. I'm not. Ich sehe nicht the 50,000 views for a podcast. Ich sehe the 10 to 20,000 views. I think now we're getting around 20 to 30. By the way, we're averaging 20 to 30,000 views on a podcast.
Amazing.
It's
Just
a very
on
nice
YouTube?
number. No, between all the platforms.
All the platforms.
The hotline is doing probably more than YouTube right now.
Wow.
Because
you have a lot of younger.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's why I decided I'm going this day out from the podcast.
I didn't even know this when I was talking. I had no idea.
Ja, so
So,
guys, it's a
wow.
junge mensen and people that don't have deze. Ik heb me gecallt de dag en heb me gezegd dat weiß der hat een plan zu kaufen a smartphone en dus me wenn ich kaufe a smartphone watch ich stissam mit im idle Sachen and whatever, and he was like, "Sollst wissen, wegen deinem Podcast, sie gibt mich basically the stimulation, was ich darf. Sie macht mich interessant. Es ist, wenn ich bin bored, habe ich interessante Entertainment aussehen, weil du bringst darauf Menschen, was sind interessant, was sind teugendig, was haben interessante Sachen zu erzählen.
Wow.
So kann ich gedacht wegen dem kaufen ein Smartphone. Und sie hat mir gesagt, wow. So, ich kann auch machen den Podcast in Englisch und kein controversial und ich habe 100,000 Views auf a Podcast. Oder kann ich helfen Einbucher? Was ich weiß, dass ich helfe, was ich weiß, dass ich aufgetan. Und with the 100,000 views, I don't know was ich getan. Okay, wow, so became views. So, this is where I stand.
That's very nice. I appreciate it so much that you brought me. Now that you're saying this, I appreciate it even more. And now I could actually get to the coming crowd.
Yeah,
to the next.
yeah, you'll see the feedback. It's incredible. Met jede podcast zeg maar, the feedback is just amazing.
Wow.
So, Gevre, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Sinds op YouTube kunnen we weer naar member en zijn deleted extra footage, niet deleted, extra footage. It's a helft ook het supporting the channel. Sinds of the hotline en me schikt eraan een comment. I get the comments and thank you. It means a lot. So ook het helpful when we support the sponsors. Tom de episode had a sponsor. Support the sponsors. Geef een klik de link oder check eraan als hij store or whatever. And a reminder to leave a comment op de eerste of a plaats die me kan commenten. Share us met de gaver. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode. And more than anything, thank you for being here and thank you, Moshe, for giving from your time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it so much.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Tavach.
Wow.